Happy Friday, Falcons fans. We've got a free agency alert. Atlanta has signed another pass rusher, so we're going to break down this move on today's show. As Bud Dupree, you are an Atlanta Falcon. So the first one to report it, local reporter Zach Klein tweeting out, per NFL source, outside linebacker Bud Dupree has agreed to terms on a one-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. So we've got that news, and then Ian Rappaport not long later giving us some contract details. The Falcons are giving Bud Dupree a one-year deal worth up to $5 million, source said. Another addition to Atlanta's defense. We're going to go through Bud Dupree's stats, some highlights, and talk about this defense as a whole, and then a little bit of a draft rumor at the end of the show. But what's your one-word reaction to the Falcons signing Bud Dupree? Get creative. Let me know what your one-word reaction is in the comment section. I'm going to give you my word in just a moment. I'm going to go with more. I'm not sound like Kylo Ren, but I want more pass rushers still for this team. Bud Dupree is a start. It's a good faith effort right there, but you simply cannot feel like this unit is a good spot right now, or in a good spot after signing a player like Bud Dupree, who over the last 3 seasons has not been very consistent, right? 2 years with the Tennessee Titans, they ended up cutting him after he did not live up to a big contract he got coming over from Pittsburgh. 3 sacks in his first season, 4 sacks last season. 2019 was his true breakout year for the Steelers. 11.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss. In 2020 with Pittsburgh, he had his season cut short due to a torn ACL, unfortunately. But in 2021 and 2022 with the Titans, he was a bit of a dud, a flop signing. He got a big contract. He never lived up to it. New GM in town in Nashville. They clean house, and Dupree is out. Now, some more background on Bud Dupree. He has not played a full season since 2019, so 3 straight years of 11 games, which is kind of bizarre. I don't know what happens when game number 12 comes around, but he just taps out after 11. Now, in the last 2 seasons, he's only recorded 7 sacks in 22 games. So this is a big name signing. Is it a very productive signing? I don't think so. Now, we're still going to be optimistic about this because at least it's a signing, and at least Fontenot is trying to improve this god-awful pass rush unit that produced 21 sacks last year, which was 31st in the NFL. They can just be thankful that the Bears were somehow worse with 20 sacks. So we're going to look at some more free agent signings they've made so far, and I'll give you more breakdowns and analysis. But first, help us reach 12,000 subscribers. We are 11,286 subs in, but we're not slowing down. We want to get to 12K before the NFL draft starts. It's a lofty goal because it is 13 days away until Atlanta makes hopefully a draft pick like Tyree Wilson with the 8th overall selection. But anywho, never miss any sort of Falcons free agency signings, moves, rumors when you're subbed. So where is Bud Dupree going to fit in this roster, right? I think for the depth chart, I don't know if he's going to be a starter immediately. Lorenzo Carter, I kind of tentatively have there, but thinking about it more, I do think it'll probably be a bigger rotation with Kaden Elliss, Bud Dupree, and Lorenzo Carter. Gave him $5 million. We'll see how much of that is guaranteed. But for now, I'm going to have him earn his keep and keep him on the bench as he had 3 straight seasons of underwhelming play the last 3 years, whereas Lorenzo Carter, I don't know, showed you a lot of promise last season and some optimism for the future to come. But Bud Dupree could very well be a week 1 starter opposite of Kaden Elliss. Now, the Falcons so far in free agency, they have made a lot of additions. Now, specifically at the front 7, if you will, Calais Campbell most recently, or until Bud Dupree. David Onyemata and Kaden Elliss followed Ryan Nielsen over from the Big Easy to ATL. So those have been the 4 pass rushing free agent signings. And of course, you've got a guy like Jesse Bates at the back end leading the entire defensive free agency unit. So what did these 4 guys do last season for their respective teams? Calais Campbell, 5.5 sacks. David Onyemata, 5. Kaden Elliss, 7. Bud Dupree, 4. Just add up those 4 players alone in sacks. We're looking at 5, 10.5, 14.5. We're over what the Falcons had as a team last season, 21.5 sacks with these 4 signings right here. So definitely a good reason to be optimistic about this unit improving next year. I still would have liked a splash Yannick Ngakoue signing, and that likely feels out of the cards at this point. But hopefully they are not taking their foot off the gas for this unit, and they will add more pass rushers in the draft. So speaking of the draft, be the GM for me. Should the Falcons still go edge at number 8, right? Should they target Tyree Wilson, Lucas Van Ness, Nolan Smith, right? Someone who's going to get after the quarterback. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. If you're going with no, you feel like, you know what? Those 4 signings right there, that's 21 plus sacks over last season. Yeah, this unit might not be a finished product for years to come, but we definitely feel like we have done enough for 2023. Now let's get to some quick draft rumors here before we get on out of here and let you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Myles Garrett, the other Myles Garrett, tweeted out, the Falcons doing their homework on Will Levis per Rap Sheet. So Ian Rappaport hopped on NFL.com's or NFL's, daytime television, if you will. And he talked about how Will Levis is coming for a visit to the Falcons. And Atlanta appears to be doing some homework on the top quarterbacks in this draft class. Basically just Richardson and Levis because, well, they may very well be on the board when Atlanta's on the clock. When it comes to the Falcons maybe drafting a quarterback, because clearly they have some level of interest, right? They're doing their due diligence on Levis and Richardson. I'd rather see them build a solid roster this year, right? Don't go for the quarterback just for the sake of drafting a quarterback, but instead if you think Tyree Wilson is a better overall prospect, draft Tyree Wilson, right? Draft Christian Gonzalez. Build a good roster. And if you stink in 2023 and Desmond Ridder is not him, well, hello, Drake May in 24, right? Go after Caleb Williams next season. But I'd rather see them build a good overall roster so that if a quarterback steps into it in 2024, they've got a defense behind them that can maintain a lead, right? They've got an improving offense. Rather than throwing Will Levis to the Wolves with a mediocre defense and an offense that only has Drake London, hopefully Kyle Pitts more incorporated into the overall game plan. So when it comes to drafting a QB this year, I'd rather get best player available, build a good team, build a good roster. And next year, if Desmond Ridder you find out is not the guy, well, then you go get a quarterback, and that quarterback is going to step into a much better locker room and roster. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. We keep you in the loop for all things Falcons.